In every heart lies the hunger to be loved, but when that hunger turns desperate, it can consume reason itself. This is the tragic account of a man who adored his only daughter more than life, yet allowed jealousy to guide his steps into darkness. Pressured by the poisonous whispers of his new wife, he made a choice that shattered the natural order, a choice no father should ever make. What follows is not just the story of a crime, but of a love so corrupted that it demanded blood as proof. In a small town where silence often screamed louder than voices, lived Chakoti, a man in his early 40s. He was known for his quiet strength, his hard work as a carpenter, and most especially, his devotion to his daughter, Amara. Amara was his only child, born after years of waiting and countless prayers with his late first wife, Ngozi. When Ngozi died during Amara's 5th birthday, the girl became both his comfort and his world. Her laughter lit the dark corners of his grief, and her presence was the reason he woke up each day. For 12 years, father and daughter lived like two halves of one soul. She often sat in his workshop, handing him nails and brushes, while he carved chairs and cabinets. He never made a decision without asking her opinion, even on the simplest things like what shirt to wear to church. To everyone in the neighborhood, Amara was not just his daughter, she was his heart walking outside his body. But life, with its cruel twists, had a way of testing the strongest bonds. The arrival of Ifeoma. When Amara turned 13, Chakoti remarried. His friends had urged him for years to find another woman, not just for companionship but also because Amara needed a mother figure. He resisted for a long time, fearing that any woman he brought into their lives might not treat Amara with love. Then came Ifeoma. She was 10 years younger than him, strikingly beautiful, with skin smooth as polished mahogany and eyes that burned with quiet ambition. At first, she treated Amara kindly, showering her with gifts and calling her, "my daughter." Chakoti thought he had found an angel, someone who would help him heal, someone who would be both wife and mother. But angels sometimes wear masks. Not long after their marriage, Ifeoma's true colors began to show. She hated how much attention Chakoti gave Amara. She despised how he prioritized his daughter's happiness over hers. If Chakoti bought fabric for Ifeoma, he bought shoes for Amara too. Ifeoma wanted exclusive love, not shared affection. At first, she complained subtly. "Chakoti, I'm your wife, not a stranger. But sometimes it feels like I am competing with your daughter for your love." He would laugh nervously and brush it off. "Amara is my blood, Ifeoma. You are my wife. My love is enough for both of you." But Ifeoma was not satisfied with halves. She wanted all. Seeds of jealousy. As months passed, Ifeoma grew colder toward Amara. She criticized her for small mistakes, scolded her for being lazy, and accused her of trying to control her father. "Your daughter is spoiled," she hissed one night as they lay in bed. "If you keep pampering her, she will never respect me." Chakoti, torn between the two women, tried to keep peace. "Ifeoma, she is still young. Be patient. She will come to love you as her mother." But patience was not in Ifeoma's heart. She wanted proof that Chakoti loved her above all else, even above Amara. And in her bitterness, she planted a seed in his mind. The poisonous test. One evening, as rain hammered against the tin roof, Ifeoma sat on the edge of their bed, tears rolling down her cheeks. "You don't love me, Chakoti," she said, her voice trembling. He looked up, alarmed. "What are you saying? I married you, didn't I? I give you everything I can." She shook her head violently. "No. You love Amara more. She is the queen of this house, not me. I'm just a visitor. That's not true. Then prove it, she screamed. Prove that you love me more than her. Show me that I am the one in your heart. Chakoti froze. How do you expect me to prove such a thing? Her next words sliced the room into silence. If you truly love me, get rid of her. Let her not stand between us. Let her not steal your heart anymore. At first, he thought he misheard. Ifeoma, she is my daughter. But Ifeoma's face hardened, her beauty twisted by envy. Then I will never believe you love me. You can keep your daughter, but you will lose me. That night, Chakoti lay awake, torn in ways no father should ever be. He tried to dismiss her words as madness, but the poison had already entered his veins. What if he lost Ifeoma? What if she left him? He had already tasted loneliness before, after Ngozi's death. Could he bear it again? And so began his descent. The struggle of a father's heart. For weeks, Chakoti lived in torment. Each time Amara smiled at him, his chest tightened with guilt. Each time Ifeoma sulked or accused him of favoring his daughter, he felt himself drowning. One evening, Amara came to the workshop with her schoolbooks. Papa, will you help me with my mathematics homework? He looked at her, the innocence in her eyes, the hope in her voice, and his hands trembled. How could he even imagine hurting her? Yet Ifeoma's voice echoed in his head, "Prove you love me. Prove it." Later, "My child," he muttered, pushing her away. Amara tilted her head in confusion. Her father had never refused her before. That night, she cried quietly in her room, not understanding why Papa seemed so distant. Meanwhile, Ifeoma watched with satisfaction. The walls between father and daughter were already forming. The night of no return. It happened on a Saturday evening, under a moon swollen with pale light. Chakoti had just finished dinner when Ifeoma confronted him again. "I'm tired of living in this house with a rival," she said coldly. "Tonight, you must choose." His heart pounded. "Ifeoma, please. Choose," she screamed. "Her or me. If you keep her, I will pack my things and leave. You will never see me again." And with those words, she tightened the noose around his soul. Tears burned his eyes as he looked toward Amara's room. The laughter of his late wife echoed faintly in his mind. But loneliness, cold, unbearable loneliness, loomed larger. He was weak, and in his weakness, he made the choice that would haunt eternity. That night, he walked into Amara's room. She was asleep, curled up like a flower, clutching the ragged teddy bear he had carved for her years ago. "Papa," she murmured drowsily when she felt his presence. "Why are you here?" His hands shook as he whispered, "Forgive me, my child." Confusion clouded her face. Before she could cry out, before she could understand, darkness consumed her. Silence after the storm. When it was done, the house grew unbearably quiet. Chakoti sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his daughter's lifeless form. His hands were stained, his heart shattered beyond repair. Ifeoma entered the room, her eyes glittering with triumph. She hugged him from behind. "Now I know you truly love me." But Chakoti felt no victory. Only emptiness. Only a silence so heavy it crushed his soul. The consequence. Days turned into weeks, and the news spread through the town like wildfire. Neighbors whispered, police investigated, but the truth was twisted. Iphioma claimed Amara had fallen ill and died suddenly. Chakoti, broken and hollow, repeated her lies. But guilt was a stubborn ghost. Every corner of the house echoed with Amara's laughter. Every night, he saw her in his dreams, her small hands reaching out, asking, "Papa, why?" Iphioma tried to pull him closer, but the love she demanded now felt like chains. He realized too late that he had traded his soul for an illusion. One night, unable to bear it anymore, Chakoti stumbled into his workshop. On the table lay the small wooden chair Amara had helped him carve. He ran his hands over it, tears dripping like rain. And with trembling hands, he picked up his chisel and pressed it against his chest. The next morning, neighbors found him lifeless, sprawled beside the unfinished chair, his last breath whispering his daughter's name. The lesson. The town mourned, not just for Amara, not just for Chakoti, but for the tragedy of a love corrupted by jealousy. People shook their heads, telling their children, love should never demand the destruction of another. Love should never ask for blood as proof. Iphioma, abandoned by the very man she sought to control, vanished from the town. Some said she remarried in another city, others whispered that madness eventually consumed her. But Amara's name lived on, etched in sorrow and memory.